Hey, John.
Hey, Eric.
How's it going tonight?
How you doing tonight? It is going well. It is going well.
You know, I went back and found our very first podcast episode, which is not available on stream.
Not
you know how we started?
Publicly.
Yeah, not publicly. You know how we started that episode?
About like that?
Exactly like that. 5 years.
Okay, that's crazy.
All good. Yeah.
Hasn't quite been 5. It's getting close, though.
Yeah. Well, going back through one of these days, I want to do the mostly security origin story podcast. I think it'd be fun because I was going through old stuff. We started talking about this in 2016, like a year and a half before we actually started recording stuff. We
Really?
were talking about it. I had registered domain names.
Wow.
In 2016. So
okay,
we saved that for another time.
That's funny. Oh, I didn't remember it going back that far.
Yeah.
Well,
it's been a while.
I really enjoyed listening to the podcast that Joel Spolsky and Jeff Atwood.
Yep.
What does that sound wrong?
Stack Overflow. It's Jeff Atwood. You're right.
Yeah. They did for when they started Stack Overflow, and like from the beginning. And I don't know when that was. It was before 2016, a long time ago. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, fun stuff.
Yeah.
We should totally do a throwback Wednesday at some point. Yeah, the first 5-ish episodes, we thought we would do it for internal instead of external. So
yeah,
I think we didn't publish them because we felt there might have been too much stuff to put outside.
Inside baseball.
But maybe not. Yeah, inside baseball.
I went and looked at them.
But
yeah,
hey.
So we should do a throwback episode at some point.
Okay. Well, I might take you up on that. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I had a roller coaster weekend.
A long weekend?
Last week.
4th of July?
Yes, the long weekend. I mean, it was nice. Had the extra break. But on July 1st, the Mount St. Helens climbing permits opened, and I did not get logged in time to get passes because my boy really wants to hike Mount St. Helens this year.
Not at all.
They were all gone. By the time I was able to get in and try to get passes, they were all gone. So I have to try again August 1st.
Oh, my gracious.
Because August 1st at 7 a.m., they'll open up for September. So...
wow. And it goes that fast.
They were gone in minutes, yes. So
wow.
I was not on at 7 a.m., 6:59 and 59 seconds ready with the refresh button. I got there a few minutes late, and they were all gone by the time I got there. So that was a downer.
That is ridiculous. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry.
But then on the 4th of July, in the morning, we went and biked the Banks Vernonia Trail.
Oh, I know the trail very well.
It's 22 miles. We didn't go all the way to Vernonia and start there. We went to Stub Stewart, started there, and then rode down into Banks. And we did it.
Okay.
We did it the lazy way. We took 2 cars.
Did you go? I was going to say.
We took the bikes to the top of the hill, drove a car down to the bottom of the hill, went back to the top of the hill, rode the bikes down. So 5 miles I didn't even have to pedal because it was all downhill.
Yeah.
And then we got in the car.
Yeah, that's nice.
Rode to the top, picked up the other car. Anyways, it was really nice. And it was a beautiful day. Not too hot.
Oh, yeah.
Not rainy. It was nice.
I was down in Corvallis on Monday, on the 4th of July. But I know that trail really well because we used to live not too far away from there. And so I would go running there a lot. I would take my kids there. And they would, when they were little, they would bike while I ran. Right. Which was awesome. I mean, not the whole trail, but from the Banks end of it, for a few miles up.
Yeah. But, the Banks end is basically 5 miles of flat and then 5 miles of pretty steep. And
it's beautiful.
We went to the top of the hill and coasted for 5 miles. It was great fun.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool.
So that was a good thing.
So one downer, one upper.
Yeah. And then I saw the Minions movie, which actually I am a big fan of the Minions. So
have not
Minions,
seen that
The
yet.
Rise of Gru. I thought it was hilarious. My wife even enjoyed it, which is not normal for her. So for Minion movies, but it was fun.
Okay.
And then the downer happened again on Tuesday. We're remodeling the kitchen, right? So there is nothing in the kitchen, and more money than I want to admit to is leaving the house already. The washing machine broke on Tuesday.
Of course it did.
Like bang, bang, bang as the drum is rotating. Wednesday we had a repair guy, fingers crossed, and the repair guy said, it's going to cost more to repair it than to buy a brand new one, so I'm going to suggest you buy a brand new one.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So disposable. But okay, yes. I've been there.
Made me panic because, with the whole supply chain and things not in stock, and I'm like, how long are we going to have to...
Right, totally.
I'm already washing my dishes in my tub. How am I going to start having to wash my clothes in my tub, and for how long?
How far to the nearest laundromat?
Yeah. So on Thursday, today, we're actually recording this on Thursday this week.
Yep.
We went to an appliance store. We did a bunch of research. We asked the repair guy, what types of models do you see the least, or what are the cheapest for you to repair? And he gave us some recommendations. He gave us some stores we should go check out that usually have a pretty good selection. So we went, and the washer and dryer, we had done our research ahead of time, figured out what washer and dryer we wanted, and we went to an appliance store and said they had it on the floor, but it was the high-end version with Wi-Fi. And I'm like, I don't need a washer and dryer with Wi-Fi. I don't want to spend the extra $200 to have Wi-Fi for this thing. And the sales guy's like, well, let me just check and see if they're in stock. So he goes and checks. They had just got a shipment of them in Tuesday. They are still getting unloaded into their warehouse. So he's like, if you want these ones, we actually have these in stock, and I can deliver them to you on Sunday.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, that's a good deal, but I still don't need Wi-Fi. So we're like, well, I don't need to pay the extra money.
Oh.
If you could order the lower model, like they had, a good, better, best model, or bare bones.
Like, I want the better.
We were like, we want the middle. And he's like, well, if I can get you this high-end one for the mid-grade price, would you go for it? Oh, jeez.
What's it going to take to get you in this car today?
Yeah. What's it going to take to get you in this washer and dryer? And sure enough, he did. And so we now have, luckily...
Wi-Fi, or you will have Wi-Fi enabled.
I just won't turn that on. I'm just not going to connect it is what's going to happen there. And, it had a couple, like the drum was bigger, and, there were a couple other things. Something was stainless steel that wasn't on the other one. And so it's a little bit nicer ones anyways, but still, I had to replace and spend more money on things. But
I'm sorry.
At least it'll be new, and it'll be a matching set, and, it'll be nice. They'll replace all the hoses and everything, and it's replacing a wash and dryer that we've had for over 20 years. So the old set is old and probably past its expected lifetime anyways. So anyways.
If it's 20 years old, I would say you got your money's worth.
I'm going to go with yeah. So anyways, that was the up and the down and the up and the down, the oh no wash. Well, that was my week. How was yours?
Sorry, dude.
How are your bees?
My bees are... So they... You joke. Don't joke like that. Don't joke like that.
Squirrel.
They're good. So I got into the bees on Saturday, I think.
So how many hives do you have
Saturday
now?
Afternoon.
Because you tried to raise queens and that didn't work out.
I did not think before. hold on. Let me do some math. So
you having to do math with how many hives you have says you have a lot.
Maybe. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I think the last time we talked, I told you I bought 2 queens and one of them got killed.
Yeah.
And one of them I didn't know about. And so I went in and the second one was still alive. So she's good. So
okay.
So the one where they killed the queen, they still may raise a queen. There's queen cells in there. So they're the maybe.
Okay.
Then there's the queen that survived that I got, which is awesome. Then there's the hive that's getting me honey. So now we're at 2.5. And then one of the ones that I was worried about, I got into on Saturday, and they have a new queen. She isn't laying yet, or if she was, I didn't. Like, I took the hive apart enough to, I saw her, and I was like, oh, there's a queen. And there weren't any eggs on the frames that I had taken out. But having seen her, I just put everything back together, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to disturb as very much in the first few weeks of her, but they have a new queen, so that hive should be good to go. So what is that? So that's 3 and a maybe.
Okay.
And then next one is good. Next one's a maybe, so that's 4 and a maybe. Next one is good, so that's 5 and a maybe. And then the last one where I tried to save the bees and they killed the queen.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have a queen, but it was full of queen cells. So I probably won't go in there this weekend because I think they'll need more than just what's been a week. But before I go on vacation, I will go in there and see if they've got a queen, and I think that they will. So what is it? I think that's 5 and 3 maybes.
Okay.
So between 5 and 8. But only one is actually making me honey. That's the problem. Only one is making me honey. But they're making me honey, so I'm not going to complain. But the rest are slackers or something. So I have so far failed to have a good honey year. I'm 4 years in. I have failed to have a good honey year.
I thought your first year was really good, though, wasn't it? Unexpected amount.
It was unexpectedly good. I think I got 40 pounds of honey the first year, which is not unheard of, but unusual. But I don't think I'll get that much this year because I don't know. We'll see. All right. I think they had about half of a super filled last weekend when I checked. So that's about 3 pounds per frame times 10 frames, so that'd be 30, but half full, so maybe 15 or 20 pounds. I think in order to set expectations, I think I need to be happy with 20 pounds. If I can get 20 pounds of honey, that'll be good. So that's enough to share with a few good friends, but not like.
So you're on the bubble, Eric.
Not like everyone. I think I could probably find a jar or 2 for you. If I get anything. I'm actually thinking that one of the reasons I didn't get much last year, and one of the reasons I think it was kind of tinted red, was that I left the supers on too long, and there were bees. I think I said this last year, but there were bees inside the peaches on the tree. I think they were just getting sugar anywhere they could. Mm-hmm. And because I left the supers on too long, and they basically ate a lot of their stores. So anyway, this year I have to make a call in the next week and a half before I go on vacation. I have to make a call whether I leave the supers on while I'm gone or take them off and leave them in the house where the house sitter will have to just cope with them for a couple weeks. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll decide. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but I had a good 4th of July. We went down to Corvallis again, and which is where my wife and I did grad school and lived for the first 5 years or so of our work life. I worked for Hewlett Packard down in Corvallis for until 2000. Anyway, it was good to be back in town. We went to a restaurant that we used to go to and walked around the college campus, and it was fun. Good stuff. So
nice.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
Good times back in the before times. So, all right, my friend. How about topics? What'd you bring tonight?
I don't remember if I had mentioned, but my mom, my family uses Instagram to share pictures one with another. I have generally stopped, but the rest of the family still uses Instagram, and that's how I get to see pictures of nieces, nephews, my family. A lot of their Instagram.
Because you guys,
pictures.
I assume it's a blended family. Some iOS, some Android.
It's mostly iOS, but there is some Android. Yeah. So, and my mom has had her Instagram account hacked multiple times, and she has created new accounts to the point where Instagram has blocked her from creating new accounts. They've said, you violated our, and she's emailing me and calling me saying, what could I possibly have done that is against Instagram's terms of service? And I went hunting for, a help page or something on Instagram to, hey, do you have support, chat support or text support somewhere? Because all she wants to do is view pictures of her grandkids, right? And so it's been a battle. And so today I noticed this article.
But she wasn't able to recover any of her old accounts.
No.
It was.
She just would create a new one.
Got hacked, she starts a new one.
She's gone through and she changes all her passwords. We've actually two-factor enabled it, but with SMS, it's easier for her. Anyways, so today I saw this article on you can't trust Instagram. And the gist of the article, to be blunt, is the author basically whines about Instagram and their lack of tech support. Because apparently this author's Instagram account has been hacked and he cannot, even as a relatively public person, get Instagram to help him restore his account. But so some of the other things that it mentions in here is about how a lot of businesses, when everything went kind of wonky with the pandemic, a lot of businesses turned to services like Instagram to update their menus, update their schedules, communicate with their patrons, and a lot of restaurants have now become victims of phishing campaigns and losing their accounts. This notes that a SecureWorks counter threat unit has discovered an Instagram phishing campaign that targets businesses and influencer accounts specifically. And then once they gain control of that Instagram account, they demand some kind of ransom for the account. And the ransom all depends on how many followers you have. So the more followers you have, the more money the hackers are going to want to give you your account back. And Instagram is, as a company, as a support service, is generally completely unreachable. The only accounts that the reporter has found that anybody had any help with is if someone had a friend who worked for Facebook or who worked at Instagram to get that. And another note in here that I pulled out is Eva Velasquez of the Identity Theft Resource Center, she's their CEO, reported that in September of 2021, they received 4 times the number of inquiries regarding hacked Instagram accounts than any other month, and saw an 80% increase in inquiries regarding Instagram account takeovers from October to November of 2021. And then in January, they're seeing the same number of inquiries as November, and it's clearly an increasing trend. So this is something that is getting worse for people who depend on Instagram for their business. So this, aside from kind of, frankly, the whining tone of the article, it does have a number of, also in addition to kind of talking about this, it does have, here's some alternatives that you might want to look at, as well as, here's some things that you can do. And they're pretty good advice on, hey, if you haven't put in 2-factor authentication, do 2-factor and probably avoid SMS and it gives you some recommendations on how to set up two-factor authentication. It tells you if you think something is weird with your Instagram account, here's where you go to check the login activity. There is a login activity page. So you can actually see, when am I logged in? Where did I log in from? And if you see anything that's, out of the ordinary, kick them out. So it gives some pretty good advice in general about what you can do and what you can't do, all basically with the end point of don't expect Instagram to help you, because unless you know somebody there, they're just not going to help you.
Wow.
But anyways, in general, I thought it was a pretty good, like I said, aside from the kind of the whining tone to it, of kind of laying out, hey, Instagram hacks are on the rise. If you have a lot of Instagram followers and maybe your business is on Instagram, you might want to double check, make sure you got two-factor authentication, use something other than, SMS if you can. So some pretty good advice. So that's the article I brought this week, because it was personal at this point.
Yeah, now it's getting personal. Well, two kind of general comments, I guess. The first of which is Facebook, and this makes me think of Google too. They don't have customer support effectively. They work to make it so that there's not really anyone for you to contact, and that they do everything they can to not have that be something that happens.
Because humans are expensive.
Humans are expensive. Certainly more expensive than a bot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Which I've had a couple recently where I'm like, okay, live chat with an agent. Agent's available. I'm like, I don't think so. Anyway, I've had a couple of those experiences recently where I'm like, okay, sure. Hi, can you explain your problem to me? And I'll type something, and they're like, did you mean X? No, I did not mean that. Please make one of these choices. Okay. Yeah. And then I get down to where, I'm sorry, we're not available.
You did not pass the Turing test. I'm sorry.
I did not think that you were, but whatever. Anyway, no, the thing in my world today, I wondered if I would have to get to Google support, but I sent my son with a phone with Google Fi support, and he couldn't text when he landed, and anyway, took a number of hours before he got to some place where he had Wi-Fi, and anyway, turned out it was only that we had to turn data roaming on on his phone. But for a bit there, I was like, I was trying to think of all the different things that it could be until I could kind of get him on the line.
Yeah.
But I have, I've tried to get quote support from Google before, and no, you got to figure it out. You got to Google for it.
That's right.
Google is the Google support.
Well, that's all the support person is doing while you're talking to them. They're Googling.
I know. Well, yeah. They're like, well, please let me pull up my script.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the people I got support from was Apple support, and I was trying to do something that I knew there wasn't a good answer for, but I wondered what they would tell me.
Yeah.
And anyway, I finally got to like an actual person on the phone, got a call back, and she was very nice. But her advice was unfollowable, which I was, again, I was like, I just wondered what they would do, but no.
Yeah.
Apple at least does have support you can talk to. No, the other thing I was going to say, my second comment regarding Instagram, though, was, my son's on a trip with a high school trip with a bunch of other people, and they're using Facebook to kind of communicate with parents. And so my wife has and uses Facebook. So I'm like, all right, you can keep me posted. But I wanted to say to them, don't. But I didn't.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
My wife has a Facebook account, and if we have to do anything along those lines, it's, well, I guess they're talking to you, honey, because I'm not getting Facebook. Anywho.
All right. I pulled two articles out this week. The first one, ransomware is hitting NBCnews.com. So,
Yikes.
mainstream news. And this is about North Korea targeting hospitals for ransomware, specifically targeting hospitals. So the CISA, FBI, Treasury Department released a joint warning this week saying that North Korea is behind a recent strain of ransomware cyber attacks. This is a quote, on hospitals and other healthcare facilities. It seems to me like it was only a couple years ago that we started seeing the first attacks on hospitals, and it was really, is that really what's going to happen? And there was that German hospital, where somebody died, was the first, my recollection at least, death attributed to ransomware. But North Korea is, according to the government, here's another quote, the warning is the starkest alert to date that North Korea, which the U.S. has long alleged uses its hackers to raise money for state programs like its nuclear weapons development, has turned to locking up essential American services as a new way to generate money for the state. In its joint warning, the departments say hackers have been using a strain of ransomware called Maui to infect American hospitals since May of 21. So it says it's not generally as public. So there's no naming and shaming going on of the facilities that have been hacked. But there was a comment in here from a Recorded Future analyst, Alan Liska, who said he's learned through confidential industry conversations of a quote, about a dozen clinics, hospitals, and urgent care facilities that have been the victim of Maui. So, related somewhat, I guess, to our comment or our topic, was it last week, about the cryptocurrency crash that, is putting a dent in North Korea's ability to raise money. Attacking hospitals is another tactic that's been going on for at least a year. There you go. There was a little bit more in the article, but it was more reporting and talking about the warning from the government.
Right.
I should, IT and hospitals they have a rough job these days. So a lot of insecure infrastructure, and it's not a priority historically, and it tends to last, for years, so until it's out of date from a software perspective. Right. And now you got a big target on your back. So, especially, smaller clinics and, people that don't have the infrastructure that, the big providers do. Although, hospitals have been rolling up, like many aspects of our society have been rolling up into sort of mega providers. So maybe that's about all I'll say about that.
Okay.
I will say one more thing. A friend of mine has their father has a business like locally, and even like in what traditionally have been small independent businesses, they're getting rolled up into private funds / economies of scale. A lot of that happening even among small businesses. It's an interesting time. All right. My second article is about Indian hackers who are used by private investigators to hack into the mail of litigants in order to find data that can be used against them in lawsuits. So this is a Reuters special report. We'll put in here. So it's quite a long article. I only pulled out a few basics out of this. But we'll put the link in here, obviously. But this is starting in about 2013. It says Reuters identified 35 legal cases since 2013 in which Indian hackers attempted to obtain documents from one side or the other of a courtroom battle by sending them password-stealing emails. Comment from the story that sort of begins the article was that over the next decade, so 2013 to now, this is a person named Gupta, he and a small coterie of Indian colleagues built an underground hacking operation that would become a hub for private investigators like Moser, who sought advantage for clients embroiled in lawsuits. Now, the people in this story that opens, which is about an investigation and actually a fight between a couple of drink manufacturers, resulted in the firm and the private investigator and the person who hired the private investigation firm who hired the Indian hacking firm, basically being charged,
right,
and having their businesses taken away.
Right.
But it still goes on. I mean, it's still continuing to go on, and it says a bunch more in here. They've got lots of data. They interviewed more than 250 targets of these, essentially phishing campaigns, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that at least 75 U.S. and European companies, 36 advocacy media groups, numerous Western business executives were the subjects of the attempts. They gave the database to, it says, 3 different security teams to evaluate. So they said Mandiant, Google, and LinkedIn, all 3 of which corroborated that the data that they have was legit. And then the sad thing about this is that they didn't, if they didn't get into detail of what these cases actually were. But they did say in here that in several cases, stolen documents shaped the verdict, according to court records. So it says it is an open secret there are some private investigators who use Indian hacker groups to target opposition in litigation battles, said Anthony Upward, managing director of Cognition Intelligence, a UK-based counter-surveillance firm.
If it works.
So there's more in here about them, targeting the lawyers. It said targeted the inboxes of some 1,000 attorneys at 108 different law firms. Yeah, I mean, the crazy part about that is that there's at least in the U.S., and maybe this is not the case globally, information has to be obtained in a legal mechanism, to the best of my knowledge at least, in order to be able to be used in court. But maybe that's criminal only and not civil. I don't know. It doesn't strike me. It doesn't strike me as that information gained by breaking in should be admissible in court. It also doesn't strike me as if illegal or I don't know, illicit is maybe the bad word there. Activity is taking place, it does seem like you should be able to obtain the same information legally and have it be used.
Yeah. So one would think.
Yeah. Dirty pool. I don't know. Anyway, I thought this was an interesting article, and some journalists at Reuters spent a lot of time digging through this one.
Right.
So it's a good article, worth going and reading.
Okay.
So there you go.
Nice.
How about something fun?
My fun, actually, the website you got to go to is neil.fun.
Wait, you've done something from him before.
Yes. This is actually a website that has just a bunch of fun little goofy things. I've used them as something fun before. So neil.fun is just a fun website. This one is new. It's called Absurd Trolley Problems, right? So if you click the link and you go there, you'll get the original trolley problem, right? The trolley is heading down a track. You can pull the lever and have it run over one person, or you can let it run over 5 people. What do you do? Do you basically, it's giving you get to choose, does one person die or do 5 people die? What do you do? So now it takes this and starts building on that as what are some absurd problems? For example, and I think there's about 30 of them. Like number 4 is, oh no, a trolley is heading towards 5 people. You can pull the lever to divert it to another track, but you're on the track. So you'll sacrifice yourself. What do you do, right? Do you sacrifice yourself for the 5 people? And then it's fun because it keeps track of all the votes of what everybody else has voted. How many voted the same way you did, how many voted the other way. And so it just keeps getting more and more absurd. I think one of my favorite was, trolley's heading down the tracks. It can kill 5 sentient robots or 1 human. What do you choose, right? So they're all just kind of more and more absurd trolley problems. So I thought it was fun. Go through them. A lot of them are pretty funny. You just pull the lever or do nothing is your options, and it'll tell you how many people agreed with you and how many people disagreed with you.
Lobsters versus a cat.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I'm clicking through these.
Yeah. So they're all kind of fun. So go check out the absurd trolley problems on neal.fun. NEAL.fun. There's my something fun for this week.
Okay, this is terrible.
All right.
Oh my gosh. All right. This is terrible.
What's fun for you this week, John?
Okay, certainly not absurd trolley problems. Okay. I'm okay. My something fun is a set of Twitter threads, which is going to be funny. Kind of, maybe. Also a terrible thing to have as a fun thing on an audio medium, but hey, what are you going to do? This is a set of threads called Code is Just by a guy in the UK called Shahid Ahmed, and it is about his journey in the early or mid 80s as a young kid, passionate about writing video games and trying to break into the video game business, and dealing with poverty, dealing with divorce, dealing with racism, dealing with diabetes, dealing with being a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, and really, I don't know, like how the threads are awesome. The threads are awesome. And he's gotten a bunch of traction. It sounds like he may actually be working with an agent or something on a book or movie deal of some sort, which is cool. But, for our purposes, for something fun on a podcast, it is go read these Twitter threads. There is he did a podcast, which I think is just him reading it, for season. He's done 3 seasons so far, quote seasons, which are basically 3 sets of threads, that are like 7 threads per season that kind of follow a bit of the story and kind of build on each other. So the link that I'll put in here is to the Twitter user Code is Just, but the threads themselves are underneath Shahid's own Twitter account. But the link here has sort of links to all the different threads, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, it starts with him as I think he said he was a 15-year-old. He might have been 17-year-old, who, is just writing, little games for the Atari 400 in BASIC. And, there aren't pictures of these first games that he talked about, but, they just getting rejected from game publishers. And here's a great thing from So gets a rejection letter. So I chuck the letter on the floor, throw myself onto the bed, face down. My mom has a feeling something isn't right. Only the summer before, I had convinced her to drop more money on me than she has ever done on an Atari 400, a cassette deck, Basic, and Star Raiders. What's wrong? They've turned it down. What, the new one? Yes, the new one. Well, get up and make another one. To this day, the greatest advice I've ever received. So,
Gotta love moms.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's a great thread. It's a great read. It'll take you a half an hour to read through everything, but it'll be a half hour well spent. So that's my something fun. Code is just, and I was a conscious, I wouldn't say coder at this point. I mean, I did not understand. I had a Commodore 64, and I very much remember typing in programs at the back, from the back of like Byte magazine, and being able to play them, quote, and I'll use the play in the most loosest sense of the word.
Right.
They're basically like, here's a blob on the screen that kind of sort of looks like a person, but it wasn't, for me at least, I didn't really learn about programming until probably 1988 or so. And for me, it was DBase 3+. That was my first, work.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, funny stuff, funny times, long time ago. We were watching some movie where there was a DBase book behind the main character, and I was like, "Ooh, hey, look at that!"
And you went to your shelf and pulled the same book off the counter.
Oh no! I think my shelves only go back to the mid/early 90s. Anyway, which is still far too long. Who needs all these X system programming books? Nobody anymore. Anyway, all right. Well, go check it out. That's my something fun.
I was kind of skimming through them. Yeah, I got to go read these. These look like fun. You
got to read for real. Yeah, don't just skim. Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right, dude.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
I will talk to you next week.
See
you later, Eric.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.